I don't even know what you're talking about.
And we are live.
Live. Hassan, good to see you, man. Welcome. Oh, hey, girl. Thanks for doing
Hi,
that.
Danny. Hi, everyone.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours. Go on, Danny. Go on.
I love it. Curls, thank you so much. You're amazing. I was just telling Curls I got this new computer Mac thing, and it's like so much bigger, and I'm lost trying to move everything around here. Oh, but this is a slide that says everything that I say is my responsibility, not the SFM. No one would take credit for anything that I say or do. And if you have a problem with it, call Curls and she'll straighten your ass out. Right, Curls? Exactly. All right. So welcome, everyone. If this is your first time, we're glad to have you here. Colin, Abby, Susan, hello. Today, Sylvia, hello. Good to have you here. Mark. Curls puts everybody in at one time. I just have to read people's names. All right. Colin, good to see you. Ian, hello, hello. Man, this is cool with the big screen, though, because you get like everybody, right? Check it. You guys are so beautiful. Well, today we have the lovely, the one and only, the amazing Miss Jill Humphreys has come here to join us to let me ask her the hard-hitting questions that everyone wants to know. Jill, how are you today?
Super fantastic, really good to be here. And yeah, see all these faces. It's like, it's just filling me up here. Curls' smile is like blinding me in the corner there. She's making me laugh.
I know, right?
The energy is always amazing on your calls. And Curls knows I'm either in the background working, but I'm there. She can feel me. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant to actually be out with all of you. And yeah. Let's get the party started.
We are glad to have you here. You know, like you are one of the cool kids. Even when you don't join us, we know that you have to do that work thing, take care of all of us and fix all the technological shortcomings that I have. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So we have got a mix of questions, you know, for you. Some of them are, you know, similar to what we ask other people because we like to get different people's feedback on the same question sometimes. And some of the questions are ones that people have sent me specifically for you to ask you. And some of them I just absolutely made up and they have no point whatsoever behind them. So let's just dive right in. Okay. So every time I think of you, I smile, right? And that's awesome. That is a good quality to have. I'm so grateful for your attitude. I love it. And I'm pretty sure that you were the first British woman to call me bro. And when I met you, you said that you called me bro. And I'm like, I love this lady. This is awesome. I didn't even know they said bro in England. Right. So well done. I thought it was just mate. I thought it was strictly mate. So that has always stuck out to me. And I appreciate that.
Great. Thank you.
All right. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind whenever you think of gratitude?
Actually, gratitude, when you say the word gratitude, I always want to just take a deep breath in and kind of center myself. Because when we're racing around and we forget to be grateful, have you ever noticed how you don't see anything, hear anything, notice anything? Very, very full of what's up here, on a mission. Don't get me wrong, that's important. But it's like, you know the saying, you suddenly realize that where you are at every moment is not where you physically are. I know that's a bit deep, right? And
yeah.
I read that book, Untethered Soul, which I'm sure a lot of you have read. And I listened also to a lot of mindfulness where they say how many people are in the shower with you at one time. Okay, are you making dinner? Are you worried in case, you know, something's not gone right during the day? Are you writing that email? You're not even physically in that presence. So when that used to come to me and I used to find myself racing around, and maybe I'd start bumping into things or making silly mistakes, something inside me go, whoa, slow right down here. Just slow down. Take a deep breath and take everything in. So come in, right? All that energy that you've got going out there, why don't you bring that back in? And even the movement with your hands, when you're doing that, you can feel the energy coming back in. And just be grateful for this very moment where you are. Reset, refresh, time out, just for a few minutes. And gratitude, that is what comes to me. It's like a, just one moment, let me bathe in this moment. Because you know the magic thing is, all of us here at this moment in time, I won't come back again. And there's no coincidence, no accident that we're all here together. Everything is as it should be, and we are all together as we should be. And I think that's magical. But what I used to not do is hold that space for the people that I was with, because I was in a hurry to get out my own stuff. Oh, what are you saying? Oh yeah, but I've got something really good and I really want to, you don't take that energy in of that person. You're rushing them on by, and you know, a lot of things happen when you go to that space of just being. Was that too long?
No, man, that was amazing. Be where your feet are, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy that book today, Untethered Soul. It's on my list because 2 other people have mentioned it, and now you are the 3rd. So
it's a sign.
Yep, it's a sign. So I'm gonna have to order that today. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Also, before I forget, our mate Philip Robeson said to tell you hello. It's the middle of the night.
I spoke to Philip this morning. Another awesome soul.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so this one's a little deeper. What do you think of garden gnomes?
Wow, that's interesting, because I've actually got garden gnomes for sale right now.
Do you?
There was 8 of them, believe it or not, and they were all bought for my son, and he absolutely loved them all. And because I'm selling my home, I found the box of garden gnomes, and I've actually put a little chapter underneath that said these must go to a very special home. Because they were once very special to my son, and I want them to have a good home. So yeah,
that is so random. I'm trying to grow peppers, like daddle peppers, hot peppers, and so I've been seeing a lot of gnomes. I guess people have those in their gardens. Just wanted to know your opinion. But it's random that you have a whole box of them, right? We are here.
That's weird. We're definitely we're in this.
That's not something I would normally think of. So, well, just saying. So for those who are not fortunate enough to know you, would you just give us a little bit of your background, how you got here, you know, a little bit of your story before you started this online gig that we do here?
Absolutely. Going back a little while, actually, I was working alongside my partner, and we had sort of like 3 or 4 businesses. We thought that's what leverage was, right? Before I found out what real leverage is. And Hilton knows my story as well, because he's in the similar construction business. And we had a construction business. My partner and I sang. So we were a duet, and we used to travel to Germany and Spain and do different things. So we had a little entertainment agency going on. I had a distribution business, and we had a courier business. And we just thought, right, okay, we want a family and we want a home, so this is it. And we were ships that passed in the night, until one fateful night, he died in my arms. He was 49 years of age. That was not on our goal or our to-do list. And from then, really from that moment then, I guess I stopped taking life for granted. It brought me to a space of, it will never be the same again. I will never see him again. We will never share a meal again. We will never share that special bond that we had together again. And from now on, I go forward without him. Because everything was planned together. Our businesses were together, our social lives were together. We lived and dreamed for freedom. But the price we paid for that was so much stress that unfortunately it killed him. And so what I did then was I came home where I am right now. And one thing led to another, and I found myself pregnant. And it was literally a really bad relationship because, and I'm sure you guys will understand this, and you'll grow to understand this, wherever we are at that time and whatever we feel at that time, whether we feel that we're good, bad, whatever that is, we attract the same. And I kind of given up. I'd lost all faith in myself. I didn't really care, and I attracted that to me. But in that came the gift of a beautiful boy, beautiful son. And he actually gave me back some purpose to live. And so when I came home here, my mother, who was in her later years, started having early dementia. And I couldn't leave her. I couldn't go back to the big city where Harry and I were. We were London-based, living the life, as they say, living the dream. And so I stayed here. I brought up my son single-handed, and I nursed my mother for 10 years. And my son comes home from school, Mom, we've got to have a computer for school. I'm like, I never had one. Why would you need that? Okay. I said, Mom, I can't believe you're asking that. We need to get online. We need to do these things. And I'm like, no, it's not happening in this house. It's just, we're not doing it. Anyway, eventually some of my friends came around and they go, Jill, you know, you're really going to have to move for the times. Tom needs a computer. So I bought him one, and I'm looking at it now. It's like, it's very old. It's a Toshiba. And he said, Mom, come on, let me show you how you can get onto Facebook and Twitter. And I'm like, what is that? Right? Anyway, he set me up all these things, and we started having fun. I started interacting people. And one fateful day in August, I saw Stuart Ross come down some steps, and I pressed this button, and he stood there in front of his cars in his house, and he spoke about not having a boss and having some time, freedom, and that word leverage. Then he spoke about having a franchise business that he realized he bought himself a job. And that's exactly what Harry and I had done. We thought we could get somebody to go into this franchise with us, and we could probably hand some of it over, make a passive income from it. No. And so everything that Stuart was really saying was resonating really close with me. And I thought to myself, yeah, okay, this is an online world, something I'm really not used to. So if that is the case, I'm going to have to go where this guy is telling me we should meet up in London. So not only I went, but my son came with me. He was 10 years of age. We'd never been to London together before at all. So it was an adventure for him. But not only that, he had a temperature the morning we woke up to get on the train. So I ran to the local surgery. I got him some antibiotics. I was feeding them, because it takes us 8 hours from here to get to London. I was feeding them these antibiotics. He was feeling better as we got there. When we got there, it was a beautiful hotel. And there was all the setup and everything. I'd never seen anything like that. And I was thinking, I arrived with a clipboard and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just going to be information. Boy, was I wrong. There were real people there. There were real life stories there, and people were meeting and greeting you and making you feel at home, right? So I thought, God, I'm probably going to be the eldest person that's in this room. I was wrong, right? There were all kinds of different age groups in the room. But as the day went on and the morning started, we had a little alcove inside, and I'd set my son up, because at that time he was building Minecraft. Really into Minecraft. And Minecraft is developing all these little villages or building different landscapes or everything. And it takes them a long, long time, but he loved it. So I set him up on that, and he had his phone and he had this little base, and this lady said, hey, there's an apple there, you know. So he set himself up and he had 3 screens. And, you know, he was there all day. But I think the biggest thing for me was Jay went outside to the toilet. He sat by my son and he was like, hey, bro, what is this? This is incredible. Jay was even late to come back in and do his part because he was talking to my son. And then Stuart comes in and goes, there's a young child out there. And I'm thinking, oh, dearie me, he's mine. He said, he's unbelievable. I've just bought him ice cream. He told me all about that. You brought him here with the temperature. But suddenly these people were real, right? And there was just this warmth there, and they were not preaching at you or projecting anything on you. They were genuinely interested. Where did you want to go? What did you want to do with life? And they were building solutions and relationships to help you get there. And so really from that day forward, this business moved from here down here. And I got home and I thought, that's it, because I'd done my coaching side of things and I was doing more stuff. And when my mum passed away, I then went to UPW with Tony Robbins. I went in depth with all Tony's training, but it was because the confidence and everything that I was being helped to build here, and the people that I was meeting, such as Curls, right? Everybody that's sort of like here is here because nobody sort of like said, you need to go there. It's something that we were all looking for. And we're looking for different directions. We're looking for solutions. And, you know, a lot of us need that education. And it's the mindset that I knew I had to get myself together again, really, to face the outside world with what I'd already experienced. How was I going to do that? And I was afraid. I was really scared because I didn't know anybody in that room. But at the end of the day, and at the end of that momentum day, my very first one, and like Curls, I've got badges everywhere. Momentum day, elite, they're everywhere, all over my wall. But I can tell you exactly the people that I met at those specific events and the relationships that I've built, that are forever relationships. And so the difference is here is you are shown a way, but you are never forced to take that way. You are lovingly guided to take that way. And the more that you find out, the more about yourself through everything everybody shares, and that is the books that people read, the podcasts that people do. You share what you've known to be something that you probably wanted to keep to yourself, but suddenly you think, no, I'm sure that would help that person. And so that fired me up as well, because then I realized I did a lot of training also with Guy and Ilan Ferdman, and a lot of you will know them. And they were extremely strong affiliates when I first came in here, and they used to do a lot of training. And they were the ones really that led me to being much more of a true self. And the true self side of things is, don't be afraid to be you. And even if we can bring that more as well to our marketing or whatever that we do, it's not the tools and the mechanics. Don't get me wrong, they'll get you there because this is the vehicle. But when you're really happy in your own skin and you bring that to your marketing, that's attraction marketing. That is the juice. That is the magic. And when you're guided to do that and you're growing more and more and you're really happy where you are, believe me, that is what's going to take you beyond and on and on. It's limitless then. You are absolutely limitless. And we go into the mindset of, how could I possibly attract anybody? How can I be worthy? How, you know, I'm scared of success. What happens when a lot of people want to, who am I? All of these questions, and it's completely natural to go there, completely natural. But don't give up on yourself. And when, as I say, you know, John said when we first came on, he loves being around this people. And that's because there is an energy between us. But we've all got one thing in mind. We're not sure of who we are, but we can be almost sure of what we've got because it was before us. Stuart was before us. So Stuart's gone through there. He's like the big shield and right? And he's guiding us to it. But he doesn't just want to be the one out there in front. He wants to look down and see you all in front with him. And I love when Stuart says, it doesn't matter who we are or what we are, we all learn something from each other and share that. And that's why those experiences, we all learn from each other. So when you've got something that's happened to you in your daily life and it's meant something to you, the simplest thing like that, either put in a broadcast or shared at a post. I'm sure you've all found suddenly there's a lot of people go, oh my God, I can relate. I can so relate to that. You needed to hear that. That's really resonated with me. Once you've done that, don't stop doing that because that's where your gold is. And I think what we try and do is we go outside of us to try and find all the solutions, when in fact, everything that we need is inside of us, but we've never been asked to go there. We've always had to be this, had to be a title, wherever we are, employment-wise, manager of this, right? And that's who we've had to be. And we've stuck in that protocol, stuck on that. And we're thriving. And what are we thriving for? One paycheck. Recognition, loyalty. It's never going to be there. And that's what woke me up to realizing as well. My parents, both of them entrepreneurs. My grandmother even was an entrepreneur. This house during the war was turned into a refugee home because she wanted to feed the world. And then she turned it into a bed and breakfast, and we used to have all these visitors and everything. But it was like, you know, your parents will say to you, and this, in fact, I'm going through this with my own son right now. My son's girlfriend is a marine biologist. She's in university. She wants to set up her own business. And there's a few things that I'm showing her, even with our online skills, because she's going to need them. The interesting fact is, when I had a word with her father, he said, my father said, job for life, 40-year plan, stick with it, get your pension. On average now, we have to reskill 7 times in our lifetime. My father was go with a bank, go with a building society, be a secretary. You will always have work. If my grandparents walked down my little hometown here, there's not one goddamn bank anymore. And so in my 8 years, which believe it or not, 8 years here, I've seen the unfolding of exactly where Jason Kubisak sat me down on an OC call nearly 8 years ago and foretold where the Industrial Revolution and the digital gold rush will happen. And everything that man has said, the evolvement of how we work for a living, how our lifestyles are, all of it, I'm actually living now. And we all are, because we're all in that space of, we're on a tipping point of understanding what we had, systems that were there, they're all falling away, they're broke. And it's really now a great time for all of us to realize how that empowers us. Because we've got tools, we've got a community, and we are traveling a road nobody's really traveled in the last year, ever. I haven't met anyone that survived the plague, so I really can't comment on that. But we've never lived through what we've lived through. Did anybody ever think that the government would say to you, stay at home, we'll pay you your money, don't go out your house, work from home? No, never, ever, ever. And yet, a lot of us have the opportunity to work from home. And the interesting part, I was speaking to my friend from a real estate in the city, and he said, the only way we're going to regenerate our cities is to use leisure, not work, to bring people back in. You're listening to that and you're thinking, what? People will not want to go back to work. They won't want to commute. Companies have realized they can save themselves money, and people are happier staying at home to work because they've got their family or they can set their routines. And this is the new generation, right? Because my friends all said to me, my God, you will never survive that scam. What are you doing not having a proper job? Now they're coming to me because they've got businesses. They don't have online skills. So everything is turned around. But what I want to say to you guys, this is a big question for you, and I hope you don't mind me asking it. You can all take some time. And I asked this actually on a call the other morning when I was with a group. Be honest with yourself. What were your priorities Christmas 2019? And what are your priorities April 2021? Do they look the same? Do you feel the same? And if that is the case, start asking that in your ads. Start putting that, because people are feeling it, but they're fearing it because they don't want to let go. Help them let go. Guide them to their freedom, whatever that looks like.
Working in your underwear is highly underrated, without a doubt. I mean, who wouldn't want to do it if they could? You know what I mean? I think, yeah, I feel you. I shoot ads in my underwear now just because it's fun. So I love that. Thank you for going in depth. I didn't know some of that about how you found the SFM. That's pretty awesome, man. Yes, London was my first event too, Momentum Day.
I tell you, there was one very funny thing, because eventually, Curls has met my boy. She knows all about Tom. She came to Vegas. We had an absolute brilliant blast because we were in Vegas for the Gold Weekend, and it was his 14th birthday. They were sat in the jacuzzi together having a beer. I mean, when my son came home and told his friends, they were like, seriously? But the other thing was, I was with Amy Taylor and a couple of others on the stage one day, and I was told to tell a funny story if I could, right, about my journey. And something just dawned on me, and my son was right at the back, and I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna really kill me for letting this out. But Stuart was sat on a chair, rocking on the chair, listening, sort of thing. And I said, when Stuart came down those steps and stood in front of his house, and there were all his cars, my son turned around and said, Mum, he hired all of those just to make him look good. And Stuart nearly fell over, but he went up and shook Tom's hand at the end, and Tom was going, I'm never coming here again, Mum. That's so embarrassing. Why would you say that in front of Stuart?
Well, 99 out of 100 people do rent those cars, right? To shoot their ads and stuff. You know, that goes back to what you were saying about being yourself. You know what I mean? I think that he wouldn't come across the way that he does. And they don't really do much in front of cars anymore, you know. Because,
no, exactly. But it's so interesting as to where, you know, that's another thing. You know, that when you come in here, you think, I've got to have the perfect background. Oh, I've got to go on a holiday and tell everybody I'm on the beach and this is the life I'm living. No.
Just be you. It's got to be you.
Exactly. Be you and be where you are with the resources that you have.
I did a broadcast last week, and it was just a video, and I cussed in it because whatever, that's how I talk, right? And I had some lady email me, and she was like, I'm unsubscribing because you use profanity, you know? And I didn't say anything. I was like, have a nice day, whatever. And then I made a sale off the same broadcast like an hour later. You know what I mean? It's like, just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, some people you're going to rub the wrong way, but suck it. You know what I mean? Like, some people are going to relate to you, just be you. I mean, that's I've learned that, right?
Yeah. Massively.
All right. So I got a question here from someone I promised I would ask. So what does nature mean to you or bring to your life?
Ooh, that's really important. That grounds me. But that also makes me think, what, of all the things that I'm going out and I think I've got the world on my shoulders, I just have to look at this goddamn tree that's like 1,000 foot tall. I am that size, and so are my problems. And so nature does that for me, very importantly, helps me ground. And again, it's going back to the fact that, do you notice what's, do you notice what's around you? We can be so busy that we just don't notice. So now I have sort of like an unplug Friday. And that day is spent with my 4-footed buddy on my beach. This morning we were seeing this windsurfer guy. Oh my goodness, man, it's incredible. I'm going to post the video in Mentors later. But nature is massively important. And again, much more important over the year. A lot of people are moving out of these big residential suburbias, wanting to come out more into country. People are relocating for this. So nature, couldn't live without it, most definitely.
Gratitude, right? Gives you perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
So throughout the lockdown, what are some things that you have done to deal with like the isolation? So some things that have helped you like grow through it.
We are a fan of Ed Milet, right? We absolutely.
That was my next question. I promise I have. Okay, go ahead. I'll be quiet.
But the mere fact is, I have listened to much more podcasts, but I've listened to people and their coping strategies during this. For example, Tony Robbins, love him or hate him, thousands, millions of people all over the world really flock to his UPW's business mastery. A headache and a half having booked, like we had events and people. But those people turn things around. I've never thought I'd ever see Tony Robbins stood looking at just loads of screens and people just all around him, right? I love the fact that no matter what you do, because of the tools that we've got here, you can bring anything to anybody at any time now. I don't think we even thought about that seriously before COVID. I've set up, I don't know how many Zoom platforms with my local community here so that they can speak to their relatives. We've even got a little dating Zoom thing going on here where people make meals, they bring and they meet together and they have a drink and they have a meal and that's their first date. Was that ever heard of? So for me, it's watching how people have pivoted and also how I've had to learn to communicate and make sure that mentally I'm in a good space to do that. And I'm going to be completely transparent here. There's about 20 people in the last year that have left my world. Some of them, unfortunately, have taken their own lives, and the others were a victim to COVID. And not one of them I was able to go and comfort or be there. And that, for me, there's no closure. And I am a real person that loves to, like, Curls and I, there was one part of an event that Curls and I, we just sat there in each other's arms because we had things we wanted to talk about, but that's all we wanted at the time. So we're very huggy people. And you'll find that if you come to an event, people just love to shake your hand or get close to you because it's a genuine thing. That was huge for me this year. because I wasn't able to reach out. I wasn't able to demonstrate really close love and connection. So how was I going to get over that? And I just realized it's exactly the same thing. It's spending that moment in time with that person and just holding space for them. It still matters. It still counts. But it's more so than ever. So for me, it was all about love, connection, and still holding that space for people, even though I couldn't physically do it.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It's all easier said than done too, right? Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you mentioned Ed. A lot of people don't know who Ed Milet is internationally, you know, but his was the first podcast I ever listened to. I didn't even know who it was. You know, I was at the gym and I was listening to YouTube, whatever, and he was being interviewed by that Tom Bellew guy who I didn't know who he was at the time, but I heard the interview and I just loved what was coming out of his mouth, so I Googled him and I found this podcast. And that was the first one I ever started listening to. And whenever you had reached out, a lot of the content I come up with for this, I get the ideas from Ed Milet, you know, for sure. So what are some other podcasts
Well,
that you learned from?
Before we move from Ed, what stuck out for me was his vulnerability one day when he realized he is a very together guy. And when things are good, he's good. During the lockdown, though, he discovered he was working between 18 and 20 hours a day as escapism. It was his way of coping with it. But the only thing was his children were being homeschooled. And of course, children are children, right? So he comes out and he starts really sort of like ranting at his kids, and his kids stood there horrified. Never heard that from dad before. And he realized, oh, you know what he's like? He was like, man, what? And so what he decided to do was not work that afternoon, but literally do a podcast with his kids, which I thought was incredible. And he got his kids to talk about what gets you upset when you see dad upset. How do you feel? Where do you go? And they were just saying, Dad, you know, are we partly responsible for this? Should we go out when you're doing this? And he said, right, okay, let's just get one thing straight. When anybody is feeling anything, we are allowed to be vulnerable. Because vulnerable isn't weakness. Vulnerable is being honest and allowing another person just to have that vent or say how unhappy they are, because there's something inside them that's like an energy block and it just has to be released. And nobody is to take what's happening personally. That so resonated with me, because I thought, wow, from that, his kids were completely different. They felt different and they were different around him as well. And he said, if I hadn't recognized that, my kids may have not gone out into the world understanding that vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness. And if we can all be where we are, right that moment, here we go again, right in this moment in time, be honest with where you are, that means that you free yourself up from it and it can disperse on its own and everybody can go about and still feel good. But it was just that man's heart, and he was really getting choked, right? He couldn't get his words together because he realized he'd hurt his children and he didn't mean to. And he realized how stressed he was getting. And he was shutting himself away more and more, thinking, I've got to produce. If I put more out, that's going to... And this is weird, right? Because this is where we all go when we get stressed. Instead of taking time out and looking after ourselves when we're stressed, we don't do that. We do it when we're feeling good. Oh yeah, I can go for a walk today. I feel good. We should goddamn do that when we don't feel good. And that's exactly what he was talking about, right? So I had to share that because that was big, I think, for a guy like that. And it's turned him around. And I tell you who else, when you talk about Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 lady.
5 second rule, yeah.
She has got a podcast out called What the Mel. And people are writing in because she's doing all her stuff from home. They're seeing her son in the background. They're writing in with questions for her son. She's brought her son in the podcast and he's answering questions from parents about kids. So, you know, we all have these resources. Be resourceful with them.
Love it. I love what you said about vulnerability. You know, that's where it's at. And that's one of the things I love about this community is we have the space to do that. You know, I'm blessed to have that in recovery. But people that just come in, like, they think they're tough, right? And they think they're hard, and they think they've done all this gangster shit, right? That makes them tough. Like, that's really not all that hard. Why don't you tell me how you feel? You know? Yeah. Oh, Curls is gonna give me her picture. Oh, this is a new one. I like it. I like it. You've been busy. She's so creative. It's her thing.
But I saw somebody just say, you know, we're not taught to be vulnerable. No, we're not. We're taught to repress, suppress, which leads to depress, right? So the vulnerability side of things, and people wonder, why do we have to go there? Why, you know, how could my story possibly engage somebody with my marketing? Look at us all here today. A lot of you, I read your wonderful posts in Fortopia. You're open and you're vulnerable. And that really forms that emotional connection with somebody. So when you're doing that in your marketing, you're not being the masses. You're being you. It doesn't matter about the rest of the people that aren't interested, as you just said. Okay, the lady didn't like what you did in your email, right? Smack hand, I'm not coming. Fine, okay, that's fine. And the next guy, he made a sale because you resonated with him. So don't worry, we can't be everything to everybody. But you can be you to another person that resonates with you. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. When you say somebody said something, I assume you mean in the chat. If you're new to this call, no, like, I don't read the chat when this is going on. I'm not talented enough. I'm not talented. I can't do that. I can like one thing at a time. I'm like a puppy, you know. So
I can, Danny.
I know you can.
I'll do it. That's my job. Hassan says, amazing, Jill. You were one of the first persons to meet me in London along with Curls in 2019 at the Elite Workshop. It put me at ease and I'll never forget it. Grateful to still be sharing this space with you all.
Oh, bless you.
And then we have Julia who says, lovely to see you and hear your story, Jill. You were the first person I connected with on mentor support after I jumped all in.
Yeah, and that lady actually only lived 14 miles away from me at one point as well. That was incredible to know that she'd actually been in my location.
Amazing. And then Sylvia says, growing up, vulnerability was never allowed. SFM has literally opened me to express myself. And oh boy, do you do that well now, Mama. She's like, oh, yeah. And here you go. Julia says that you're going to have Welsh cakes.
I'll be round.
I love it. I love it. You talk about somebody being 14 miles from you.
I know.
This being a small world, and us being here for the same reason. I had a call yesterday. Some lady reached out to me. Her name was Monica. She was super cool, and she lives like right there, like St. Augustine, North St. Augustine. I live in Jacksonville, so it's like 30 minutes from here probably. And she was one of John Brooks' members, you know, one of our mates, and we had a catch up. What was funny was the area that she lives in. One of my best friends was at the golf course, was a superintendent there forever. And the lady who works at the fitness center there is a really dear friend of mine and my girlfriend's. And I'm meeting her Saturday. She's going to be the fitness model for my new yoga products that are on Amazon. I was like, do you know Erin? She's like, oh yeah, she's in the fitness center. I'm like, she's my fitness model for this weekend, you know? Yeah, small world, right? She's like right there.
Absolutely.
You never
brilliant.
know when you hop on a call with somebody where they live in the world, in our
Well,
community,
That's
neighbors.
that's the universe bringing those like-minded souls into your life. Like that's how I met Curls. That's how I met everybody that I've got an association with. And when you come to events, those are the glue. Believe me, because you can sit and
Oh
have
yeah.
a little conversation with somebody. It really makes a big, big difference. So we've got so much to look forward to coming up as well with that. And the friendships that you build here, though, are of a different emotion, because it's like when you go into a coffee house or anything, you're sitting there and somebody's chatting with you, suddenly so much comes out because you're going to walk away and leave them, right? You can do that here with there's no judgment, there's no condition. You are who you are and you're respected for who you are, because your uniqueness will attract that uniqueness of that other person. So that's the specialness with the friendship here. Very, very special.
Absolutely.
And if I can jump very quickly, and it starts on the screen just like that. This is how our friendship started. It didn't start when we met in person. We were sitting every day on the wake-up call with JJ, and we were bantering, and we started all sharing our stories, and that's how we built it. It was Jill, it was Frank Zeben, and a few others, and then momentum happened, and we were able to see each other in 3D, and that connection got even deeper. It's fantastic, really. We do create real friendships here that are even stronger than.
Yeah, and for anything that ever happens, people have your back and they mean it. They genuinely mean it here. I've seen incredible things happen, with people here helping other people out, and it's just wow, mind blowing.
Yeah, you feel so. I mean, this is the only place where I shared my story at the beginning. I never did that with my other surrounding in my other life. It happened here in the SFM. Now I'm like, I've got the courage to share it to a wider audience, but it started here.
So true.
Because I felt safe, like Sylvia said. There's something that happens there. It's that vulnerability and the courage you built at the same time. It's incredible.
All right, I got a few more questions for you, Jill.
Bring it.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, wow. This is a really good one. If I could have a superpower, I'm going to get emotional. When a person feels lost or lonely, if I can pour some love into them so that they feel that they belong and they feel safe, that would be my superpower.
I think you have that superpower. All right. Can you spell diverticulitis?
No.
Me neither. My stepmom has it just popped into my head. I'm looking at it and I can't even spell it. So there you go. Don't feel bad.
DIVERTICU DIVERTICULATIS.
Almost. LITIS.
Really there?
That was good. Now you get an A for effort, Coach. You get a gold star. That was very impressive. Jill, since you have been here in this space, what would you say is the biggest thing that holds people back from reaching their potential, whatever that is?
Self-belief. Yeah, huge one. Why do I know that? I walked in those shoes for years. And you're not alone in doing that either. But the thing is, it's funny, a person said to me the other day, you know, everything that you've done has been really great, but don't you think that was a lot of wasted time? And I kind of drew a deep breath and I thought, okay, this is really interesting. And I looked at them and I said, do you feel that where you've stayed all those years has also been wasted time? And I said, you know, literally, I said, where you are, you made that choice. You could turn that around tomorrow and make a different choice. I made that choice because I was a mum on her own, lost my mum, knew I wanted to bring my son into a life that I could say that was a quality for him. Not only that though, and this is the magic of writing everything down, people, don't think it, ink it. Make sure you write down these little things because that universe is listening, right? I wanted to be in a safe environment that my boy could actually be with the people I work with. When he came with me and met Stuart, Jason, Justin, he was blown away by the people because they were interested in him, but they were also saying, look after your mum. You get one mum. Take care of her, right? She's going to take care of you forever. And for me, that was important because my son had not had a man in a role model way. And so if you bring your children to SFM, you know, we've had babies being walked at the back of the room, haven't we, girls? We've walked up and down with people's babies so that the moms can be there and they can be on stage or whatever it takes. But yeah.
Yeah, I've had baby Ben sucking my hair, removing my earrings, like drooling on my pretty tops. But that's it.
It is self-belief. That's a big holdup for people, self-belief. And when that person said to me, you've spent an awful lot of time working on this, working on that, where do you think it's got you? And I said, where do you think it's got me? You've seen me grow up. Have I changed? Oh yeah. Right? Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that's not part of your life now. I said, well, that's my choice. Because I'm afraid if where I'm going, I love you. If you want to stay where you are, I still love you. But believe me, I'm not going to hang around. I've got places that I want to go to. I've got things that I want to bring into my world. And I'm on a mission to do it. And that's why my whole life just completely changed. People fell away, people came in, right? And choices. We all have choices. It's a choice to be stuck. It's a choice to be happy. I remember, actually, it was loads of us on stage in UPW. Tony Robbins comes on and I was like, he's like a giant. Everybody's looking at him, like, and he went, okay, when was the last time you were happy? And people going, and he just looked, and everyone else was laughing because he was standing there going, you could be happy now.
Happy is a choice. I agree that 100%. Happy is a choice. A song can make you happy. Like you can just choose to be happy, right? Fulfilled takes a little bit of work, yeah. But happy, I think, is a choice. Absolutely, that we own. I agree, and I love the self-belief thing. That's a question that a lot of people answer. You know, on here, it is. I mean, this is all new, right? So to believe that we can do it is scary, and I love that, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
And you know, the reason for all the Photopia, the reason for 30-day challenges, the reason for all isn't to sort of like freak your head out and go, God damn it, I'm in the modules. Now you want me to do this. Now you want me to go. It's all about formulating routines, rituals, habits, so that they become part of your life. And once they're embedded in there, you can't shift, you can't go backwards. It's like a grid that's plugged into this big energy system. The more you're feeding that grid, the more it becomes part of you. It's a bit of a uphill climb with a nose in the P, right? Trying to get to the top. You will never reach
What?
the destination either. People say to me, right, I want to get through these modules and then I'll be happy. No, you won't. There's another hill to climb. There's another view to like, but don't worry about getting to a destination and then everything will be fine. It's who you become on the way. That's who makes you the great person that you already are.
And that's what's exciting too, that we never get there. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it or how much you show up every day. You never get there. You know, if what do you say? If you're on the right road, on the right path, it'll always be uphill. You know.
Yep.
All right. So this is the last question that we have. This one. There is a right answer to this question. Okay. So, of all the people who live in Florida who are named Danny who have interviewed you, who is the best one?
You are.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much. You are incredible. Thank you for feeding my ego today. You're amazing. On a serious note, thank you for coming and hanging out with us. I know you have to get other people to like take the controls while you come to do this, and I just want everybody to meet you, like, because you're so incredible and you have such a big impact on me and on this community and just the person that you are. So thank you for taking the time here. So for our call here, if this is your first time here, we always do a couple things. We do an action item, right? Because this is about action, right? It's about actually doing some stuff, because well done is always better than well said. The one that we have that is the same every week is to reach out and tell someone that you appreciate them, like not in a text message or an email, but like verbally tell them, you know, send a voice message, just something, just reach out and tell somebody that they matter and you appreciate them. No one will ever get upset for you doing that, and they might pass it on and you change somebody else's day. The other action items, I picked a few because some people are on lockdown, and the ones that I was kind of thinking of, you might not be able to do. One thing I think is cool is if you're cooking dinner, cook two and give one to your neighbor, give one to somebody. Okay. Now, depending where you are, they might not want anything that you touch because they think you have cooties. But if that's not the case, cook some food, give it away. Food is always an awesome gift, right? Another thing would be to, now that the seasons are changing, for those of you that have seasons, it's just warm here.
I'm so sorry.
Curl's
that's
got
the next-
jokes. Curl's got jokes now. She's got the controls. I'll just mute Danny. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Your video and I muted you instead. I love you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just messing with you. All right. And the last one would be to leave a note on someone's car or their door if you can't go outside that's positive, right? Because most people see a note on their car, they think, oh shit, somebody hit my car or I parked too close to them. So just leave them a note. It's like, hey man, have an awesome day. You know, like I have these notes that are pre-printed because my handwriting sucks. So I can just pick one off and put it on there. It's like, hey, you're awesome. You know what I mean? So just a little something that costs no money, takes very little time, and you can have an impact on someone's day. All right. Something else we do is we always have a book of the week. Although it's every other week, we haven't come up with a better name for it yet. And this is a book that I love, and I was introduced to it in this community. It's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And this book is like super thin. You can read this in like one trip to the bathroom. It is not even big, but it has amazing content. So, As a Man Thinketh, James Allen, you should check it out. Jill, thank you once again for coming to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. Curls, thank you for all of your amazingness. I love you. I appreciate you. None of this would happen if it was not for you. And thank you to all you cool kids that came to hang out with us, because, you know, let's be serious. If I just doing this by myself, it wouldn't really be any fun, you know.
Thank you, both of you. I don't know if you guys heard what Danny just said about that book, that it's a book you can read in a trip in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's like really small. It's really small, you know?
Oh no. Oh dear. Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us, for sharing your magic, for pouring the love. And that story is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to her. So if you have an opportunity, connect with Jill in Mentors, because she's there every day. And hopefully you'll have a chance to meet her in 3D. And Danny, I'm very grateful for everything you do, for being a troublemaker and a cool kid and everything. So guys, thank you again for joining. That was a beautiful call, and we will be back in 2 weeks' time. And don't forget, today is visionary call, so there's going to be some big announcements. If you can make it, plug in. It will be live in the tribe, and you can join in Zoom as well. So that's it for me.
We'll be
You're
there.
being awesome.
Have an awesome day, guys. Later.
Bye-bye. Ciao,
Cheers.
ciao.